This interview started. He's already introduced himself. My name is Latoya, so I'm really excited to speak with you about the 47th annual Baltimore Pride. So you guys
Yes,
have been doing this for a long time, a very long time.
yes, almost as long as I've been here.
Well, that's great. And you are one of the organizers, Ursula Franklin. Do you mind telling us your role as an organizer?
So I do a lot of collaboration when it comes to Pride, but my position within the Pride Center of Maryland is program management. So I oversee the coordinators that conduct the ongoing programming that we provide all year long, as well as assist with the setup and making sure that our partners that we collaborate with all year are able to be incorporated within the Pride event. So services that we're offering and things that we're providing to the community, we want them to be at the event as well as so much more. When it comes to how our structure is and how we wanted Pride to look, although Pride has been done so many times in Baltimore, with the pandemic and COVID-19, things just kind of dissolved. And so not having a celebration from like, I believe it was like 2018-19 all the way until last year. Last year was my official first Pride, right? I've heard about them in other places. You go to a party, a parade, but it was my first time where I could say, this is my Pride, right? And being a part of the development of that was like, right? We had goals and we exceeded them with over 100,000 people in attendance, right? So the idea that this year is hopefully going to be even bigger, we wanted to stick with what we started and making sure that it's not just a weekend. People think of this community and they think of Pride as just, they're just free, it's just sex, it's just party, it's drugs, it's alcohol. Well, you know what? It is all of that. And those things can be amazing. But for us with the Pride Center of Baltimore, we want to make sure that we're providing enhancement and upliftment and resources. So many people try to use their sexuality as their identity, and that is not all of who you are. It takes so much more. So we want to make sure that knowledge about other organizations and safe spaces are there. And we want to make sure that you're able to feel comfortable or know how to articulate yourself in those risky situations or circumstance, that you have workforce development and you have the knowledge that there are other people out there just like you and that you can. And with Baltimore being a Black city, right? We want to make sure that we target in on those specific groups, the young Black men, the trans women. We want to make sure that we're offering services and knowledge about how people identify and attacking the schools and making sure the educators can deliver this information and that the parents have these resources and that it's okay. At my first Pride, one of our events last year was um, a youth pride, and it was like a drag. We did it at an arcade. Parents and family members could come to support, and it was a family that had some trying times, and grandma was not feeling this, right? And ended up having a blast and took pictures with the drag performers. But it's the idea that you have to know that we're all human. We're all coming together. And so now that we've all come together again, which was our theme for last year, now this year we want to make sure, I'm sorry, because I like to take notes when I'm talking to you guys too, because I pass it on to my team. So, this year we want to make sure that this foundation is solid and we can begin to build.
Mhm.
And so we all coming together and we're all moving forward. It's one love, one heart, one pride.
And I love that thing, one love, one heart, one pride. And it just reminds me of like how you just want to, like you said, you want to get everybody together in one room. And it's like, we're all just want to have that security with our sexuality, with our race, our gender. And I think that's something that people can look forward to when this Pride happens. And so I guess my question is for you, like you said, with the drinking and all that party and like, yeah, that's going to happen, but it's more to Pride than just that.
Yeah.
As far as just sponsoring and, are these charities that you work with, what kind of steps do you take, to reach out to people that can help you with the Pride as far as when it comes to finances?
So we have a Pride committee, and some of these folks are volunteers. Some of them are within other organizations that are within the community, along with ourselves. And we come together, we begin brainstorming, we begin talking, we talk about the needs, we talk about the issues within the community, we talk about topics that people may not be aware of so that we can bring enlightenment. So we do different things for, honestly, it's from youth through the aging population. And we do that because we want to make sure that they know. So, for instance, one of our events that's not just for the party, it's one of our galas. It's going to be at Gertrude's in Baltimore, and it's our Twilight on the Terrace. So this is where we do like our ribbon cutting. We kick off Pride Week. We make sure that people are able to tour. This is where a lot of elected officials within the community come in. And even if they're on opposing sides or not in a supportive way, they're able to see all of the things that are out there, because the goal is to change the narrative.
Right.
Okay. We're in control of how things happen, and more now than ever, as a people. When you think about people within this community have been able to obtain rights that even us as African Americans did not have, right? So let's take advantage of this, right? And let's make sure we're presenting well. So we're doing job fairs where we have like Amazon and all other businesses, not just LGBTQ businesses, but like all other providers where they come in, they're offering, interviewing and jobs on the spot. They're educated and knowledgeable because we are providing them with their training so they know how to receive the people that may come in, right? We do different initiatives when it comes to like rehousing and substance abuse. That's stuff that we do all year long, but we bring in those people. We bring in our total health care partners to provide those testings and those STD panels. And then we have case managers where we follow up and we help you get into housing. We help you get those resources that you need, because if you build yourself up, then there's nothing you can't do. So all those people come out along with vendors from the community. We have local celebrity guests. We got like mainstream artists. This year we have Remy Ma, K. Michelle. We're doing like block parties, and we just want people to know that it is a place, right? For me, I am in transition, right? It's not because I'm not a cisgender female. I am, but I'm also in my 40s. I'm also transitioning from losing an immense amount of weight, from going from one area of work, jumping into another because of my experience through the pandemic, knowing that now I only want to work for a purpose, not a dollar, right? So when you put it in that context, that's where you're able to connect to people that don't feel that they're connected to this community. You are, because just like you needed change, that's what we're asking for everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like how your eyes light up when you said, like local artists like Remy Ma, Kate Michelle.
Right. And so we were strategic even with that, because yes, we wanted to make sure we had artists that covered like major demographics from, young to old. But for me, these two ladies were ladies that had experiences as well, that have been through things as well, that really know the true meaning of, one, overcoming where you've come from, overcoming what the media says. You talk about, domestic violence, you talk about incarceration, you talk about having children and families and being able to outshine stigma and overcome trauma. So it's bigger than them just singing and providing their art. It's what they stand for. It's about being able to say, I've grown, I've learned. This is not what I'm about. And I'm not going to let someone stop me. I'm not going to be put in a box. And I'm going to still experience and grow and develop. Look, K Michelle's doing country. Come on now. Come on now. Who said we can't? So even that, right? We try to look at all of those aspects to make sure that we are bringing in every bit that needs to be brought in.
And so how important do you think it is for the LGBT community to see allies like K Michelle, Remy Ma and things like that?
I think it's really important. One, it shows that we are not just saying, oh, well, you have to identify like this, or you can't be a part. No, because we're all inclusive. With women in hip hop being on top right now, you also want to be able to show that. Pride Center, we partner with Black Men's Exchange even. So that way we do have support when it comes to the minority focus. So we also want to make sure that in this area that is pretty much predominantly Black, that we're showing that we can spotlight these folks. Now we have a host of other people, but we want to make sure that our people are comfortable. And these are people that are really mainstream. And like I said, have reached diverse audiences. And could be inspirational. One, let's talk about how great they look. And two, the artistry, right? And the story is different. It's like you hear the story of the young Black man and how they had to do, and we understand that, we respect that. But what about all those little girls, right? What about those little boys that they feel like a girl and they need that help, right? They need that inspiration, because you got to know who you are. Who cares what somebody says? You got to have someone that you can identify with. So for me, my best friend was the person that opened me up to being able to see that years and years ago, because we're not going to get into how old I am, right? But the idea that you have people that are going to be in attendance that have fought for this country, fought for our lives, and they couldn't even live their own. Being able to hear music that could be inspirational or that keeps you driving forward, right? Being able to bring in artists like from New Orleans and other areas, because even though we have local artists, we have other artists that are not as big as some of the mainstream artists, but we're touching all areas, So we got Know Your Bounce coming in. We have comedians, we have singers, and then it's going to be hosted by Unique Robinson. So it's all for a good time. And then also having that separate division for Youth Pride as opposed to just bringing it all together. The thing is, if you don't have a foundation, it will fall. But you have to know that you strategically plan to make sure that all elements are there so that your family can grow, right? And that's just so important. It's just so important. And we've tried to hit all of those areas, even from recruiting our volunteers, making sure that we have teenagers that are looking for volunteer hours and college students. It's non-binary representation, lesbian representation, and education. So Dr. Cleo Manago, he's our Dundada, right? He's founder of Same Gender Minority, Same Gender Loving, African-American activist, founder of the Black Men's Exchange. We also have Black Women's Exchange. Working under his leadership and gaining that knowledge of who you are as a person, as a people, and then looking at how this whole lifestyle and community has been dominated by other races, and seeing where our power is there and learning what it is and how to separate this from that and how to still know your worth. That's what we want to put out there. So yeah, we have education during Pride. We got a little food, we got music, we got parties, right? And we want to make sure people know that this is all year for us, right? We do these events all the time. We're offering testing and sexual health kits and music and workforce development. And we're cool, you know. We're not saying you got to be gay, but if you are, baby, if you are, okay, it is okay.
Yeah.
But even if you aren't, you still our brother. You're still our sister, right? Let me help you shine. Let
Yeah.
me teach you something. Because if I don't reach down, how are you going to come up? So that's where we are right now. And so that's my movement. That's my input. When it comes to, I know Trey Moore was going to hop on, but it's his birthday and we were like trying to make sure. But, you know, when it comes to Trey Moore is really strategic in the partnerships, right? Making sure that we partner with major companies and businesses that are able to reach a vast amount of people, making sure that they are able to provide information about what we're doing to the people that they employ, to the people that they're serving and providing merchandise to, and just being able to be an asset on an ongoing basis. So we get so much money in. And, you know, it costs, it costs a lot. We did not expect 100,000 people last year. Let me tell you, we were all like, what? Right? Because, you know, it goes slow sometimes. And, we're like, okay, we got this many tickets sold. Okay, it's looking good. Because all events are not free. You do have some like the Twilight at the Terrace where you do have to pay, right? But proceeds go towards the tax because the city, for us to have this much space and these many buildings and parking, yeah. So, you know, any donations goes toward that, right? But you can come to the block party, no cost, right? You can come to these other things, go to the park, right? You know, because we got Pride in the Park. Go to these different things at no cost, you know. Take advantage of getting a free HIV test and STI panel. And you know what? If you already know your status, but you need some help, don't be afraid to speak on it. You know, don't be embarrassed. Don't think that you're alone. Oh, you don't want to take PrEP because you thought it was just for gay people, but you're straight, cisgender woman. I'm sorry. You
Yeah.
have other options. It's not just PrEP. It's not just PEP. We also have Apertude and other things because, you know, a lot of people in our community have an allergy to that.
Right.
And
Yeah.
they think that it's just not working or not for them. No, because we are so divine in our creation, right? We can produce any race. We're too complex. So let's educate our people on different options for them. Because we
Mhm.
like sex.
Making me want to buy a ticket now because
Look, you better come on out, girl.
well, 'cause that's just like you said, it's like you're gonna get so much at once. And I think that's what's so important about just Pride in general. You know, it's not just, you know, gay this, gay that, gay this, but education, and you learn more about yourself and things like that. So as far as like getting a ticket, like what kind of activities will we experience when we get that general admission? Because it sounds like I'm gonna be there for a few days.
Yeah, so I would definitely plan on coming for a few days. We do have a host of events. Like I said, we have like things leading up. So
Yeah.
it's not like it's just that weekend, right? So, you know, we're celebrating a lot of things. We have like mainstream balls, we have Kiki balls, we have um of course, like I said about Pride in the Park, and Druid Hill Park. You need to come just for that anyway. How do you think Druid
Right.
Hill got that name, baby? They was telling them what they want years ago, right? So, you know, when you go on, you can go on to baltimorepride.org or you can go to pridecenterofmaryland.org. Click on there, you'll find your volunteer opportunities. You can find tabling opportunities, and you can go ahead and get ticket information. They'll be able to reach out to you and let you know about the full lineup, right? So that you can come and have fun with us. Maybe go on the cruise, get off the cruise and still go to the park, right? Last year, I didn't do the park. Last year, I was on the cruise. And let me tell you, one, when I tell you the food was amazing, the
Yeah.
performers were amazing. I was on the first level of the yacht, right? And then I was done eating. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna go upstairs and go outside. I went upstairs, part two of the show. It was a whole nother party. And so like I brought a friend that was volunteering and she was like, what? And I was like, yeah, this is what I do for work. This is what I do now.
That's
You know,
crazy.
I'm not gonna let anyone box me in anymore.
Yeah.
You know, I can't dim my light for others. I gotta let it shine for others.
So
And
you said
so
that's
that's what,
the first Pride experience?
yes, because you know, throughout the years, even though I have been connected to the community, you go like to a party because, oh yeah, it's Pride weekend, and you go to a party, or you know, you experience like the parade, and it's pretty much like everyone's slosh. You know, you got like, you know, your bears out there with the booty shorts, and you
Yeah.
know, the extreme. You know, some of us extreme, we love it, but it's extreme, and that's what's presented. And that is what people think. And then you have this separation. Okay, let's talk about the division. The division amongst the pride when it comes to racial division, right? So everybody welcome at the Puerto Rican pride, but you don't got resources for everybody. Or
Yeah.
everybody welcome here, or this is Black pride and this is separate. And that's okay because we got to have our own thing. But Baltimore pride, it's for everyone. Where we're located, we're around so many huge hubs. We are the Pride Center of Maryland. So we cover this entire state. We drop down off into DC and we connect with the other prides, the Black prides. So even though we're holding our own, we still connect with our surrounding areas, right? But we're so close to Philly, New York, DC.
Yeah.
Come, everybody could just come and
Everybody.
we can do it because
Yeah.
they all doing theirs a little bit before us. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So it's like, take advantage of this. Get the history of the community. You know, grab you a chicken box and like, let's get it.
Yeah.
And I'm not from here, right? I'm not. I'm a transplant. I moved here for this position to do this work, right? So it is really important that people are able to receive what it is I'm trying to put out and what my team tries to put out. We eat, sleep, live this, you know, because you never get a second chance.
Right.
You never get a second chance. That one person that seemed a little strange really just wanted you to smile at them. Doesn't have their mother to hug them because they're different. I'll be your mom. That part.
I love it. See, I've never been to Baltimore, but I feel like for my first time to go, it would be the Baltimore Pride because I feel like you get the full Baltimore experience. Like
you are, because the smaller events are in historic areas. You're going to see, like, when we do our planning, our committee is just not new people or young middle-aged people. It's some of the elders of the community. Like, these are people that have been awarded. Some of these people have been the reason why we have this opportunity. You know, they've seen it all, the rise, the fall, the division. Imagine being in a African American community and you identify within this gay community, and the one place that's designated for you is run by predominantly white.
right. Yeah.
And these are things that people in this community have experienced, which is why Dr. Cleo Monago came and partnered with the GLCCB to help increase the diversity for the people in the SGM community for that area, because we're sexual gender minorities and we're same gender loving. So how is it that you can speak to our people? You can. You can. Just like single moms, you can raise your sons, but you are still not a man. You can
Right.
give them the tools, but giving them those tools helps them connect where they can get that other part. Because some things you just can't provide. But if I have the opportunity, if I can pull in this diversity and I get all these wild characters that are just representation of what's out there, now I can have someone for anyone. I have someone from my trans community that needs case management, because this person is going to understand what that transition is like, going to know that you sick on hormones. No, girl, I don't want to be at work at 8 this morning. I need to come in at 12. You know, I'm still learning myself. I'm still developing. You have someone that can say, yes, you know, I'm just me.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just me. Because who I lay with doesn't make me or break me. I'm just me. So I don't, so we offer all of that. The people that work with me, for me, and above me, we are the community that we're serving. And so if you can't see where you are, how are you ever going to have the vision to see where you're going?
Oh,
You got to
exactly.
see yourself in that place already so that you can get there. You got to
Right.
make sure people believe. So I'm going to tell you that you should definitely come.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to be also doing the ribbon cutting for our new building, as we've been under renovations and sharing a space for a while. And in our new location, we still offer like the clinical wellness testing. We have fitness center. Okay. We have a lounge area where people can just come and, gather information, do a little work, without being in Starbucks. And then also take in the atmosphere, meet new people, find someone that's like you,
Right.
and be able to connect. And so our goal is to just continue to expand, continue to grow, continue to build. Like I said, we were together again last year, and this year we're one love, one heart, one pride. Next year, sky's the limit,
Yeah. I
And
love that.
next year you're gonna already be here and be ready. Okay.
Exactly.
So,
'Cause I know what to expect. And
right.
people
And
always
just
say,
this connection,
yeah,
just this connection alone, like how Keith said, we want to stay connected. Yes, because we want to make sure that other centers and other locations, other organizations are knowledgeable about what we're doing in case it helps them get some ideas or tips, or in case we can all feed off of each other, like, I mean, they have like these super fests and these essence fests, and yeah, we got pride. But could you
yeah.
imagine if we did a gay fest?
Oh my gosh, that would be
Right? Where Keith
amazing.
at? We might need to do a gay fest, a super fest,
Exactly.
that way it's not just so general. Like, gay fest could be on tour. We could hit major areas, right? And go in and help these small organizations that are struggling, help teach them how to connect to those people, so that it's more support. So those are things that I think about. That's the kind of work that we're doing, and we want to make sure that other people can start thinking about that,
Yeah.
especially within our minority communities.
And I'm glad you mentioned about, how the minority community just needs a place to go to belong. Because a lot of people, the controversy is, oh, why can't we have a straight pride, And it's just like, it's different. Gay pride
Right.
is different.
The thing is, have you fought to overcome all of the things that's been up against you? Do you know what it's like to be spat on? Do you know what it's like to be demeaned or called out of your name, or to be disowned, to have to sell your body before you was even knowing your body? Do you know what those things are like? And if you don't know, there's nothing you can speak on. You can only take pride in what you've experienced and what you've built. And if you haven't, and you haven't been a supporter or an encourager, then it's a wrap.
Exactly. That's
Right.
why you have a straight pride, because there is nothing you are oppressed about. That's
Right. Like what struggle did you have? I'm sorry. What was that again?
exactly.
Like,
And I'm looking
yeah.
at the
And people always want something that they don't need.
right. Yeah, exactly. And I'm
That they don't need. Like why you really need that? And so I like to make sure that people keep that way of thinking. Like, when you think about history, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years ago, the other people, our other people within our world, strategically planned our downfall.
Yep, every single time.
And we have been constantly trying to dig ourselves out of that and grow and develop and accept, right? And fight. Now we have to strategically plan how to build it up.
Right.
Right? How to make all these connections, how to get Boosie from arguing with what's that boy, the Wade boy, how to get these conversations. Yeah, let's have them, but let's have them with some education.
Mhm.
Let's have them with some actual knowledge, not just what you were taught, because a lot of us grew up in nothing but trauma, right?
Mhm.
And then we get with other people that have the same trauma. So we cool, we bond, and we just bounce in toxicity
And
off
we
of
think
each other.
it's normal and it's not normal.
Right. So that's why we're doing what we're doing. And I would love for you to be able to make it out here. You just keep in touch with me, right?
'Cause
You
I'm going
could,
to I'm in Nashville, so I'm going to Nashville's Pride Festival. I have a podcast, so they want me to volunteer at their parade. So
okay.
I'm getting out there. It's not a lot of it's not a lot of LGBT, I guess, awareness here in Nashville because it's predominantly country, predominantly white. So
Right.
I'm trying to push my lesbian ways.
I'm originally from Memphis, right?
Oh, me too.
So I know the state, right? And there's a small community like in Memphis, but it's still a lot of stigma because it's the deep South, right? So even though
Yeah.
Memphis is a Black area, I think, and again, I'm older, but it used to be where the gays go to the park on Sunday.
Oh, I didn't
That
even know
and
that.
this is like
I'm a new
in the
gay,
in the
so
early 2000s, right? You get what I'm saying? So
yeah,
it's kind of known. You're not going to just see people out being so free and so open
yeah,
um as you would, even though now it's been some growth. I understand it's been a few years ago. The idea that people still had to feel the need to hide, or this is this huge city, the biggest city in the state, you still know that all the gays go to this park on Sunday.
it's like
Now you're making them a target.
yeah, because if anybody's anti-gay, they will go to the park on Sunday.
Right.
Ex-
So little things like that. And with you being in Tennessee, yeah, it's country and you got your hood side, right?
yeah,
But I would say for you, the biggest thing is making sure it's some education in there.
right, yeah,
Right? Making sure you have a wow factor, right? Making sure that it's someone so fine, trans woman, to where they don't know and they're so mind boggled that they're in acceptance of hearing more or learning the story. Knowing that everyone's not out for deception, because in those areas, that's just what the mindset is.
Mhm.
No, they're not going to deceive me. I want you to be straight up. Well, listen, do you walk around every day saying I'm a boy?
Right.
No, people take you for how you present. So
Mhm.
like those things are really, yeah. I'll give you a little tips about Tennessee.
I'm glad you said that because I think that's kind of like I guess my persona, not really persona, but what people see me as like when they meet me, because I'm from Memphis, so I was the first generation to go to college. Nobody in my family went to
So you
college.
already know about Overton Park and over there by the zoo.
Yes.
Every Sunday, that's where
Yes, I know everything. And coming here, people like, wait, you're from Memphis? And I'm like, yes. And then they're like, wait, you're a lesbian? And I'm like, yeah, like it's just mind blowing because one, I'm educated. One, I'm not making it a personality, and
right,
two, they can't they're intrigued by the fact that I'm not like, stuck on just that. Like I want to educate everybody. I don't just want to educate one genre, one
right.
section, whatever the case may be. So I love that's what, Baltimore Pride is doing. Just loving and educating everybody. Like everybody meet us at the park on Sunday. Everybody.
Right. Like everybody come out, see what we're
Yeah,
doing, because that's the biggest thing. Without knowledge, there's no power.
right.
And like you're saying, like for us, one, we already had, just like how people say, Black men have all these things against us, the idea that we Black women, the parents that birthed us, imagine what they was going through in Memphis.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. And I got you probably could be my daughter. You get what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So the idea is you're already starting behind, right?
Yeah.
So you got some that start with that head start. You got some had a little money. You got some because they're raised. They got a little jump ahead of you. So you already starting from nothing. and you
Right.
got to dig your way out, you know? So when you do make it out and you want to learn and you want to continue to grow, that's all you want to push is make sure people know. Like, people didn't understand, like, well, why are you going to work for the Pride Center? You gay? And I was like, well, I don't think so. You know what I'm saying? But like,
If I was,
like, you know, how do you know, right? How do you ever really know? You go off of how you're living your life and your experience. Putting yourself in a box only limits you, right? And so that's why when I came in and I began to meet these folks that I'm working alongside, and then I took my own life experience and personal knowledge that I sought for myself and to be able to teach my kids, you know, I realized that it was so big and it was something that needed to be addressed. Not because I'm trying to change people's views or how they feel on their choice on who they would like to be with, but because I at least want people to have a mind that's able to be open and knowledgeable about what's going on in the world, how people are actually identifying and being able to have that freedom of expression. You know, it doesn't mean that it affects you, but you need to also be aware, because if you continue to teach ignorance, that's how we got in this place.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Right. You know, think about how many people say scrimp, screet, and all of that from back home. And because whenever I would come home to visit, because I grew up military, so this home, my parents, mama from the north, daddy from the South Parkway. You get what I'm saying? So it's like I had two beasts raising me, even though I was going to these different places. But when you go home, why are you talking like a white girl? Oh, you mean because
I used to get so much like, why are you talking like that? I'm like, well, I don't. And then plus I'm a radio personality, so I have to like pronunciate my words. And people are like, why are you talking like that? And it's like, it's English. What are you talking about?
Right. And I do know what my people say when they're using their slang and their terms. I'm completely knowledgeable. It's my heritage. But just because I was able to take in something more, don't beat me down because of it. Find out what I'm doing. Find out what I'm doing. You too can stop eating Circle B smoked sausages and transfer over.
Because my parents get on me, oh, you eating a salad. And I'm like, a salad is good for you. And it's crazy because when I moved to Nashville, you know, Memphis, they got a corner store everywhere. Like
Brother Pizza, Dodge Stone Wings. Yeah.
When I got here, I'm like, I don't see a corner store. You know, where am I supposed to go? I need some hot Cheetos. And now it's different because now I want tea and now I want, you know, pretzels and just the small little things that we don't even think about can really like make a difference. And I think that's one of the things that Baltimore Pride is going to do, is going to be some first timers. Yes. And their first experience is going to be like, oh my God, that's Remy Ma. Oh my God, that's Kate Michelle. You know, if she thinks this is okay, maybe it is okay, you know?
Right.
I'm looking at the headline and it has a lot of women performing and transgender women. What do you think it's going to take for the male allies, you know, to be like, let me get out of this box and support the LGBT community?
So I think that it's all about approach, right? Because we do have artists, male artists that do help with other things on smaller scales. And we actually were considering Tevin Campbell this year, you know, but we put it out there. We kind of poll the people that are doing the work and kind of see how they feel for who we want to select. And with the One Love, One Heart, One Pride, having the trans and the female take on that. We are Mother Earth. We are one. You know, we help with that unity. Like men may be viewed as the head, but what's a head with no neck? It's just gonna be a ball that roll down. Right. We turning it. We're uplifting it. Yeah. And so strategically we're working into that, right? And gaining those partners through other resources. So you have a lot of male artists that need the education piece, right? That may be a trans woman or a trans man or someone that presents in a more feminine way may not be able to attack them, right? So then for me, I want to take it to them in a different way, because people classify, it's like all rainbows. No,
Yeah.
you Black, okay? Do you want to do something to better your community, to help young Black boys and girls, right? So then when you tell them about that, then we begin to build those partnerships. Then that's when they realize, well, yeah, and they still say stuff like, I just don't want nobody in here to do that. Trust me. Listen, baby, we can see it a mile away. We know when you green.
Right.
We know it when you green, but also you need to also know that some of the stigma that you have could be because you are not living in your true light.
Exactly.
Maybe that's it. I love Doritos, right? And I love fried chicken, right? But I know that I have to break sometimes. But if I sit up and say, oh, I don't, no. Eventually, I'm be in a room somewhere with a big bucket of chicken and Doritos binging. And then it's going to be like, oh, the Cheetos did it and the chicken did. No, it's because I denied myself instead of educating myself to be comfortable with what I desire.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So we do get a lot of cisgender male artists and businessmen that do help with certain things. And so we're looking to slowly bring that representation there even more. Because like certain events that we offer, like National Tattoo Day, where we bring in tattoo artists, we do like parties and stuff. Our workforce development program within our partnership with Black Men's Exchange. Mm-hmm. Let's build as a people. So we're getting there. I don't know who's coming next, because we were thinking about asking Boosie this time. We were thinking about it.
Y'all should get Saucy Santana. I love him.
Listen, Santana just said, I don't have to do anything, and I definitely don't have to pay nobody. And I seen that and I was like, girl, I love it. Don't play with it. Yeah. So basically, we began planning for next year's Pride by like September of the same year. So we're going to be putting that in. I love to keep in touch with you. Like I said, if you could come, that would be amazing. And just see how we can do that incorporation, right? Just having your publication acknowledge us and be able to provide that information about what's going on in Baltimore, because we want to change the narrative. You see so many things, like from Memphis, for instance. What do we know? When people think Memphis, they think, what's up, man? They think
pimping, poverty.
Right. Can't talk. What did you say? We eating unhealthy stuff, right? Mm-hmm. It's either that, or they think, oh, it's Elvis, they backwards, it's country, missing the whole importance, right? And so never being from Baltimore, only just knowing about Baltimore prior to coming here for this position, what had been presented in media and in different platforms was nothing that I've learned. When I tell you the citizens of this city are apart and they are trying to be together, and they are all trying to take some piece and make sure that the good is there, offering things. There's so many different organizations and minority groups that are there. And so the idea is, it may be a struggle, it may be drugs, it may be violence, it may be these things, but we're aware and we're the people living it, experiencing it, overcoming it, and protecting others from it. So if you ain't been through nothing, then how you know? And right. So people that have overcome substance abuse, people that have been in their transition for their sexual identity, things like that, those are the same people that are providing services. Cause see, if all I did was like drink, and I'm drinking and I never recovered, I know what you feel like when you only went 2 days.
Right. I'm speaking.
But if I just pull in some counselor that went to school, so yeah, you went to school, but could you really connect enough to keep that person off the ledge? we have education and our people are educated, but a lot of them are people that are educated that have been through some things so that they're able to really speak to it. So no, don't give me that line, because sometimes you learn best by getting checked.
Yeah, that's true.
You learn best by getting checked, right?
Yeah, either getting checked or going through it and teaching somebody to not go through it. Like, now that being the first generation, I can teach my sister what not to do, as you coming out of Memphis, because I had to go through that. I'm like, make sure you look, they gonna tell you got some money with these loans and scholarships and stuff. Just read the fine print. Like,
read the fine print. Don't let where you come from be what holds you back. Yes. Don't be afraid to leave. And once you leave, stay gone long enough to where when you come back, you're not compelled to go to the same space that you was in before. Because ain't that what happened to everybody that make it out of the city?
Yep.
Why was that boy at Makita's? You could have sent anybody there to get them cookies.
He was trying to be, I understood why, but it's like that wasn't you anymore. Like, I get it, but you're above that now. So you have
to grow. You could have still supported that local business. You could have still done that, but you got to move strategically.
Exactly. And that's what Baltimore Pride is, One heart, one love.
One love, one heart, one pride. That is our motto for this year.
I love it.
And that's what we want to make sure people are able to acknowledge and feel. When we came back together, it was amazing. It was more than what we even thought we were going to be able to do after the pandemic. Now the pandemic is deemed over, right? So we may have people that are not as fearful. Like, we still have people living in fear just last summer still, right? But now, oh yes, when you think about those songs in hip hop, one love, that's us. Like, that's who we are. And that's what you got to put out. And it's bigger than just saying these things for marketing purposes. When you're able to speak to the meaning behind something, the impact is so much greater. Anybody can rhyme words or come up with a thought, but you got to know the meaning behind certain things in order to teach and to make people understand. Those colors are not just colors, and the rainbow is vast, right? But it's something that we didn't even create. It's above us.
Yeah.
You ever made a rainbow? Right. Right. Okay, so it's bigger than us. So this ain't nothing new. Or the colors would never be there.
Right. The colors were there long before we were. So
right. This bigger than us, honey. We just making you understand that you got to see things the way that they were intended to be seen, in all glory and all beauty.
And be proud. Be proud of it. You don't have to be
ashamed. We're divine creations. Like, so that's what we want. That's what we want people to see. That's what we want people to know. And that's what we're doing.
I love it. Well, I don't want to take up any more of your time.
I'm sorry. I'm a talker. I'm in communication too, but I love this.
That's why he got me to interview y'all, because he know I can talk it.
Chris, we sorry, Chris.
I know Chris like, okay, this is a good conversation. Wait a minute.
He didn't even know he had 2 Memphis girls on the line.
That's perfectly fine.
You didn't even know.
But I really
even know. We got you a barbecue sandwich and some more stuff.
I know. We got the popcorn and everything. But I really appreciate you guys both coming on here to speak with us, Chris as well. We're definitely looking forward to featuring you guys. Baltimore Pride is such, my auntie's from Baltimore. So I've never been, but I've always wanted to go. And I just feel like I keep getting signs to go, So I don't know.
You should. The culture is amazing. And once you're able to see, you have your areas that are really more intense and in need. But once you're able to just see how the community works together, and I like the ability to just, walk down the street and I can grab a coffee here and I can go get something to eat here. And you see whites and blacks walking right alongside each other in a place where you would definitely think, oh, they not here. And you see them right there, and and just the connections within those areas. So I would say, come on out, right? I'll be able to share and teach you a few things. I'm still working on my terminology.
I wrote down your name right here. I need an email or something. So
yeah, so you can email me at Ursula at Pride Center
okay.
MD.org.
MD.org. Okay.
Yes. And my number is 901 857
857
7936.
136. Okay. When I text you or call you, I have a 901 number too. So
look, I kept it when I moved because my big mama still had a landline phone. And so I was like, that way she could just call me or whatever. And then now I don't got it no more, but I still ain't changed the number. So yeah.
Wait, did you say my big mama?
I did say my big mama.
Is that yeah, you guys' way of saying grandmother?
Yeah.
So you say big mama, you say Madia or Mima.
I say Mima.
Wow.
You say Mima
or Nana. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's grandma and my grandfather, my big daddy. And I said that around here. And people, I think I'm in a sex life. And I'm like, I'm talking about my granddaddy. I was on the phone with my big daddy.
Yeah, we say Mama or Nana or Mima.
Yeah, Nana, Mima, Big Mama, you know, Madia. Madia usually is like the great grandmother.
Yeah, like the one that started everything.
Right. Whoever's the highest matriarch, that's usually Madia.
Yeah. Chrissy
learning.
We're
gonna bring you too, Chris.
Chris learning a few things.
Right.
I got your number. I got your email. And you know, before you both head out, what's something that we can look forward to, you know, coming up, not just with Baltimore Pride, but just Baltimore in general?
So I think that you guys should definitely tune in and keep an eye out for a lot of the works that we're doing within violence intervention prevention, because that is something that we are really focusing on. As you know, we have a lot of trans women that have experienced a lot of violence. And then we want to make sure that people are aware violence is not just for trans women, trans men, not just a woman thing. It's a lot of women that cause violence to men. And we want to make sure that our men know that it's okay to know if you're in an abusive setting or relationship. Let's prevent the murdering. You know, you got a lot of women under so much stress. They don't realize that those words are violence that they spew out, and triggers a lot of things. So we're going to be connecting a lot more with violence prevention within the city, and making sure that people, like I said, are educated about different avenues that they can take for resources, and just continuing to uplift. And right now, we're also looking to really begin providing the services and resources for our rapid rehousing, as we're going to be offering housing to folks that are in the underserved community and giving them help for a 90-day structure to get a job and get placed so they can continue to have somewhere to live that's safe for them.
I love that. I don't want to take any more of you guys' time. I'm going to let you go.